All right, let's talk about one of the most common and, let's be honest, one of the toughest interview questions out there. My goal here is that by the end of this, you'll walk away with a clear, simple strategy that makes you feel totally confident the next time you get asked about teamwork. And there it is, the classic. You've probably heard this one a million times. It sounds so simple, right? But how you answer this one question can literally be the difference between a pretty good interview and an absolutely great one. This is your chance to shine. If your mind kind of goes blank or you feel that little knot in your stomach when you hear this, hey, you are not alone. So many people struggle with how to frame their answer. But guess what? There's a super simple and honestly incredibly powerful way to handle it. So here's the secret. The absolute best answers aren't just a boring list of tasks you did. They're compelling stories. And the reason this works so well is that a good story makes you memorable, for sure, but it also shows the interviewer those soft skills they're looking for instead of you just telling them you have them. Okay, so let's get right into the blueprint. Every great story needs a structure. And for this, we're going to borrow a classic from storytelling, the 3-act structure. It's super easy to remember, and it works. Think about it like any movie you've ever seen. Act 1 is the setup. That's where you introduce your specific role. Act 2 is the conflict. This is where you talk about the challenges you faced and how you cooperated. And Act 3? That's the resolution, the big finish, the successful outcome. It's a perfect little story arc. So let's break this down, starting with Act 1, defining your role. This is all about setting the stage. You have to give the interviewer just enough context so they can actually follow along with the rest of your story. And this is so important. You have to be specific. Don't just say, oh, I was on the marketing project. No. Say, I was the project coordinator for the Q4 product launch, and I was responsible for the content calendar. See the difference? One is kind of vague, the other sounds polished, professional, and clear. All right, moving on to Act 2. The challenge. Now this is the heart of your story. Why? Because this is where you really get to show what you're made of. No interviewer on earth wants to hear about a project that went perfectly from start to finish. That's not real life. And this slide just nails it. So many people make the mistake of saying, everything went smoothly. That's a dead end. It tells the interviewer nothing. They want to hear about a problem, a hurdle, a challenge, because that's what shows them how you solve problems and how you work with others when things get tough. And remember, the key word in the question is team. So you've got to use words like we, us, and our. Talk about how we came up with a new idea or how you supported another team member. This is what proves you're a real collaborator, not a lone wolf. And now let's bring it all home with Act 3, the outcome. Every good story needs a satisfying ending, right? Your interview answer is no different. This is where you get to show off the success that came from all that great teamwork. And here's a pro tip for you. Numbers are your best friend. They are so much more powerful than vague statements. So instead of saying the project was a success, try something like, as a team, we launched 2 weeks ahead of schedule, which saved the company about $10,000. That's impact. And please don't forget this last step. You have to connect the dots for the interviewer. You need to explicitly say that the great result happened because of the teamwork you described in Act 2. For example, that 20% increase in engagement was a direct result of how well our team worked together. Okay, so you've got the 3-act structure down. Now, let's give it a little upgrade. A vocabulary power-up, if you will. We're going to sprinkle in a few words that will make your story sound even more professional and polished. First step, collaboration. This is just a fantastic word. Saying, my collaboration with the design lead was key sounds so much more active and intentional than just saying I worked with the designer. It really implies a true partnership. Next, synergy. Now, I know this can sound a little like a corporate buzzword, but it's a really cool concept. It's basically the magic of teamwork, right? It's that idea that 1 + 1 = 3. You're showing that what the team created together was way better than what any one person could have done alone. And hey, don't be afraid to talk about delegation, even if you weren't the manager. It's not about bossing people around. You could say something like, we delegated the data analysis to Sarah because of her expertise. It shows you're smart, you're efficient, and you know how to use your team's strengths. So let's do a super quick recap of the whole blueprint. 1. Start your story by defining your specific role. 2. Embrace the challenge. That's your time to shine. 3.
End strong with a clear, successful, and if you can, quantifiable outcome. And 4, weave in those power words to sound like a total pro. So there you have it. That's the blueprint. The next time you get asked about a team project, you're not going to freeze. You're going to tell a story, a memorable story about challenge, cooperation, and success. So the only question left is, what great story are you going to tell?